Dear participants, let us now move towards the presentation. And the topic of my presentation today is an investigation of feminism in research opportunities across species. Moving forward, since the title of this refresher course is feminism, it is very important to understand the term feminism before we are moving forward with our discussion. I have taken the definition from Oxford Dictionary, and it states that feminism is the advocacy of women's right on the ground of the equality of the sexes. Now, when we see this definition, then women's rights are clearly highlighted. But similarly, another thing which gets highlighted is the equality of the sexes. Now, why it is important to understand this definition and these two terminologies? Because there are a lot of myths which are going on around feminism. Many people believe that feminism is actually developing superiority of women over the men's. But it is nothing like that. It is clearly stating that we are advocating that women's right to be protected, but along with the equality of both the sexes. So feminism believes in equality of women, whether it is in economic sphere, social sphere, or political sphere. When we see the origination of this particular concept, then it developed in the Western world, especially due to many traditions which were prevailing at that point of time and had a lot of restrictions on the rights of the woman. So in order to overcome all these restrictions, the concept had originated in the Western world and slowly moved to the other parts of the world as well. The thought around feminism has several manifestations. Some take it in a very positive manner, others take it in a very wrong versions. Like I've just mentioned, that there are many myths which are going around that feminism is nothing, just the developing of superiority of women over men. But definitely there is nothing like that, and simply we can say that feminism only believes in equality between men and women, and especially when we talk about different spheres like economic sphere, social and political sphere. So there shouldn't be any distinction between both the sexes. Now, if you look at different kinds of feminism, liberal, radical, Marxist, cultural, ecofeminism. Now, any kind of feminism you go through, you will realize that nowhere it is mentioned that we are trying to build upon this superiority of the women. Liberal, it deals with the integration of women into mainstream society. That means they also have to become an important part of the society. So it doesn't mean that we are actually, taking the space of men when we are talking about these liberal ideas. Radical, we are trying to bring about some sort of social changes in order to reduce oppression of women across race, culture and economic class. So again, we are only talking about that how to reduce the oppression, but here we are not challenging the rights of the men as an important part of the society. Marxist and socialist feminism, again, they believe that oppression of women can be reduced if we try to overthrow the capitalist system. So again, the fight is with the capitalist system and not with the men's. Now, cultural feminism, we believe in the inherent characteristics of women. They are more caring, they are more stronger, and here we believe that we strongly have to promote social issues of the women. So again, we are not disturbing the rights of the men. We are only believing in promoting the cause of the woman. And ecofeminism, here we are resisting the patriarchal culture of the society, because that is actually an important factor which is resulting into this kind of inequalities prevailing in our society. And simultaneously, we are also making sure that we are contributing to promote methods by which we can reduce the destruction of the earth. So if you see these kind of feminism, the kinds of feminism we have, the concept of feminism, so nowhere we can see that it believes in superiority of women over men. Now, before we are moving forward, we have to discuss many facts about feminism, and I think it is important because in order to understand the further discussion. So feminism, as I've just mentioned, it believes in social, political and economic equality of both the sexes. It focuses on systematic inequalities that women face on a daily basis. Like we face crisis in terms of, lack of incentives and promotions being given to women in different organizations. Then daily wage labor, they see that for same kind of work, women are getting paid less as compared to men. They are not being promoted in decision making. They are not being promoted in many other aspects. They do not have rights for educational attainment. So we are systematically developing our policies by which slowly we can reduce these inequalities, especially which women are facing on a daily basis. So it does not support any kind of sexism against either gender. It promotes equality and, as just mentioned, not female superiority over the men's. So feminism basically instigate respect for the individuals, that every individual needs to be respected in the society. They have the right to make their own choices, and no double standard should be followed while judging the people. So for example, if you're working in an organization and we are doing same amount of work, so when you have to do promotions, then I think the decision-making authorities should look at the contribution point of view, how important that person, how much contribution that person has made in development of the organization, rather than just focusing on their gender. If she's a female, she'll not be promoted. If a male person is there, even though the contribution is pretty less, will be promoted. So these kind of biased judgments need to be avoided. Then there are a variety of feminist groups who are working for different kind of discrimination against women, and it is not that we are only working against discrimination against women. At many places, feministic movement have focused even on issues which are related to men. It has also been noticed that in the 10 top paying jobs for the women, females are earning less as compared to men. So as I've just mentioned initially, that an organization, especially when they are promoting people, when they are distributing incentives, and in terms of providing salaries and all, the main criteria should be the caliber of that person, the contribution that person should making to the organization, rather than focusing on their gender. So this situation can improve only when we respect every individual, and when we respect the choices and the contribution of every individual in this society. Now, despite many attempts which have been made by UN and the treaties have been signed against discrimination of women at many places, but there are still many places which have refused to sign any international bill on rights of the women. And even though the treaties has been signed by nearly every other nation on the planet, but still they haven't given support to the females for their development, for reducing discrimination against women, and so on. Now, feminists are actually working hard to make the world realize that there should not be difference between men and women, and they should be treated equally in the society. And of course, a lot of efforts have already been made, but still I think we have to take many steps to be clear before we reach a level of equality in our society. So these are the important facts about feminism which I wanted to discuss so that we can make the discussion more general. These facts I have gathered from different secondary sources which I've gone through, the literature review I've gone through. So I thought let me just share it with you people so that we can understand the subsequent part of the presentations in a more better manner. Now look at this table. In Indian context, we are looking at the total number of women employment and the percentage distribution of women employees in India. So the data is from 1971 to 2011. Now in 1971, if you see, then out of the total employment figure in lakh of 26.99, the percentage of women is just 2.51. And when we come to 2011, then total employment, which is 30.87, the percentage of women to total employees is 10.93. Now, the important aspect to be noticed in this table is that over the years, we can see that the percentage of women in total employment has always been less. And even though improvement is taking place, but the improvement is taking place at a very snail pace. See, from 2.51 to 2.58, then again in certain years it has even reduced, like in 1973 from 2.58 it has reduced to even 2.55. But taking a positive note of it, we can see that even if the movement is taking place at a snail pace, but still there is improvement in the percentage of women who are part of the total employment structure of our country. And this is a positive sign, and we believe that in future these figures will definitely improve. Simultaneously, if we see the share of men and women in different professional cluster and country, so the first figure is showing the professional cluster all across the world, and we see that many clusters, in fact almost many of our professional clusters have dominance of men. And even when we see the figure in India, again, in these professional cluster, we'll see the dominance of men as compared to the women's. Now, it is generally believed that women do not have, those skills by which they can enter these skilled based and more dynamic based kind of professional clusters. So therefore, with this belief, we are actually putting a question on the skills of the women's, and this should not be the case, because it is going against the national development, because for national development, all skills, all knowledge, all kind of contributions and manpower matters, rather than any kind of discrimination which will ultimately restrict the good knowledge and skills for overall national development. So if you see cloud computing, data, artificial intelligence, all these specialized fields which are coming up, everywhere you will see that there is dominance of men. Now, this data I have gathered from Global Gender Gap Report 2020, which is published by the World Economic Forum. Now, specialized skill cluster, again, you will see skill clusters like technology, business, specialized industry, soft skills. Again, you can see that even here, the male dominance is easily visible, but I'm sure that in future, definitely there will be changes when we'll start recognizing equally the skills, knowledge base of each and every individual of the society, rather than discriminating them as men and women. Again, the data has been taken from Global Gender Gap Report 2020, published by World Economic Forum. Now, when we see these figures and we read a literature on feminism, there are certain key insights which can be gathered from there. And that is that even till date, around 30% of our average gender gap remains to be closed globally. So even though we are saying that feministic movements are doing a lot and governments are doing a lot for closing of this gender gap, but still 30% of this gap needs to be closed. Now, largest disparities usually occurs in the form of economic participation and opportunities, along with political empowerment. Now, with political empowerment in many countries, and especially even in India, we can see that a lot of significant improvement is there in women's participation. But on the other side, we can also see many countries where women have no representations at all. So this situation needs to be changed in order to close this gap on political empowerment. Women's role in senior scale has increased because of their engagement and economic participation and their empowerment. 36% of our senior private sector managers and public sector officials are women. But even though roles in senior scale have increased and leadership positions have improved, but still we can see that financial disparities are slightly larger. 40% of the wage gap and 50% of the income gap are still to be bridged in order to do away with this financial disparities between men and women. No doubt, educational attainment gaps are really small and only 20% needs to be closed. But even when we say that educational attainment is less, but it is believed that women's skills are not adequate, and it is believed that they are not adequate to succeed in the professions of the futures, like I've just mentioned, in professional clusters like artificial intelligence, cloud computing and all that. It is believed that their educational attainment and skills are not meant for these future professions. If we go through different social media platforms, it is clearly indicated that women are highly underrepresented. They face barriers to employment opportunities in most of the dynamic and in-demand occupations. While I was talking about the skilled kind of jobs, so you can clearly see that there is dominance of men in these fields. Now, women are underrepresented in the 8 micro clusters which we have seen in the previous diagram. And these are the clusters which are having the highest employment growth rate, like people and culture, content production, marketing, sales, specialized project managers, artificial intelligence, data, which are actually the most dynamic kind of jobs which are governing this world right now. Everywhere you see, there is underrepresentation of women. Now, why women are underrepresented? Because it is believed that they do not have the needed skills for these kind of jobs. It has it has also been noticed that when we talk about women's role in senior scale, so we are saying that it is improving, but still when we see the hierarchies, then most of the organization have hierarchies which are usually gendered and racialized, especially at the top level. So this insights we have gathered from the literature review again, then the insights from the Global Gender Gap Report and Aker 2006, which have published a very beautiful work on this, which was published in around 2006. So many insights have been taken from these sources. Now, a very beautiful statement have been given by Nielsen and Wrench, and I just discussed it in the beginning also, that when we talk about unequal opportunities in the work, it is actually perceived as a very serious problem. Why? Because when we say that we are making this discrimination between men and women, so it is not only having an impact on the income and social status of women, but it is also undermining the social political system of our nation. Why? Because an important human resource is getting wasted. There is underutilization of the skills, knowledge and manpower, and all these prevent access to the advantages that different type of knowledge can bring, especially in a globalized economy for the national development. So at the national level, if we do away with all these inequalities, then definitely we can build upon a greater manpower which is more knowledgeable, which have more skills, and we can reduce wastage of human resources, and ultimately all these things together will work for the national development, and that is actually what is the need of the hour in a globalized economy. So therefore, with these words, I close part 1 of my presentation, and I believe that a serious thought on this aspect is required, that whether we still want a stereotype culture where we want to differentiate and we want to promote these inequalities, or we want that our nation should develop, and if we have that feeling that our nation should develop, then definitely we should look forward towards measure for reducing these across all these scales, be it economic scale, political scale, be it social scale, and unless and until we are able to bridge a gap which is there between men and women, definitely our national development will keep on hampering because of these aspects. So thank you, and let us